Hi, I'm Trevor from trevordumbleton.com, and in today's talk we're going to talk about, with internet marketing, letting yourself come through. And that's something that I think most people don't do when they first start out. The temptation is to almost go corporate and just put a face on that you wouldn't normally wear. And that's kind of weird because we deal with people. We don't tend to deal with faceless corporations unless we have to. We don't like dealing with bureaucrats, which is how an awful lot of websites come out when they first start. You kind of think that you have to be just, well, not you. It's almost as though you're trying to wear a different skin, and that doesn't, it doesn't get best results, is what I'm trying to say. And that means you need to let your personality shine through. Be you. Use words and phrases that you'd normally use expressions and opinions. Wow, now there's one. Opinions. Again, it's very, very, very tempting when you first start out, or even when you've been going a while, to not let your opinions come out. And if you're completely opinionated and the rest of the world probably wouldn't agree with you, as in 99.9%, then yeah, probably it's wise. But if you find you're in conversation and people say, yeah, okay, hadn't thought of it that way, or yeah, I agree with you, or whatever, then that's the kind of thing you can let coming through on your website perfectly happily. So don't be afraid to let your personality come to the forefront. Something I've definitely fought shy of for the first probably at least 10 years when I was in internet marketing, and I'm getting better results now that I'm letting me be me. Second is to get your audience's head nodding. Now this isn't the corny salesman thing of get 3 yeses or whatever so people are in a mode to say yes or anything like that. It's just quite often it's a case of things hide in plain sight, and you kind of assume they're common knowledge but they're not. And sometimes it's just shorthand that we use where I'm not phrasing this very well, but something, the shorthand where people sort of say, did you do this, this or this? And maybe. And maybe means yes, because it's shorthand, it's code for that. With certain things, when you've lost it, saying have you lost it doesn't sound right, so we put it in a safe place then, and people nod, and would you like another copy, say, before you find it again? And don't nod again. It's that kind of head nodding I mean, where you're saying things that are perfectly obvious but aren't always brought out into the open. And it's kind of the phrase of hiding in plain sight as well, where things tend to hide in plain sight, and that's the obvious things that we actually almost always forget. And if you're not sure where to start, actually finding something that's hiding in plain sight is a fantastic way to go, because you get light bulb moments going off in your head all the time. It's used in adverts a lot of the time. They'll hide in plain sight. The images on an advert, especially for things like cars, will be totally at odds with the words that are being spoken. It's fantastic, actually. If you ever want inspiration, watch adverts with the sound turned off and don't go through at 10 or 20 times speed, or whatever, 12 or 30 times speed here in the UK. Just go through at normal speed and watch, especially things like a car advert or a beauty advert or alcohol, because they have to fly under the radar, because alcohol can't say, oh yeah, you're going to enjoy it, because they're not allowed to say that anymore. So that kind of hiding in plain sight again is really, really useful. And I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm certainly saying you should learn from it. Third thing is be interesting, because again we tend to prefer interesting people. We like raconteurs, we like people who tell stories, we like people who just lift us up from everyday normal life, and it's kind of an escape mechanism. And what I'll often do is pause a video or whatever and come up with an interesting fact. There's things I mentioned in one the other day where predecessor to email was the post, and early on in the post in the UK you had deliveries between 6 and 12 times a day. It was pretty much the email of its day. There was communication. You got almost instant response. When 12 times a day, that's once an hour for a thing, because it would be roughly sort of not 9 till 5, but that kind of timing. So people were arranging, yeah, let's meet for afternoon tea by post. Okay, now you do it by text. that's superseded email, and there'll probably be something that supersedes text at some stage in the future. So, but pick up an interesting thing. Again, it's something that people can say, oh, never knew that, and Wikipedia's your friend on that one. Very easy to find things that are almost certainly true. Its accuracy is about the same as Encyclopedia Britannica, so it's pretty good. And you can just throw things in, and if they change over time, well, people can comment on them, and that gives you another excuse to write or create another piece. So again, be interesting. Just draw stuff in, draw your reader in, or your listener in, or your watcher in if it's a video, whichever it happens to be. And then speed matters. Speed is something that the universe, if you're into things like law of attraction, the universe reacts to speed. Money reacts to speed, everything reacts to speed. And again, I don't mean racing down the road at higher than the average speed limit or anything like that. I just mean do it in real time, rather than saying, oh, I'm going to do that, and then tomorrow, yeah, I'm still going to do that, and then next week I'm still going to do that. There's a Douglas Adams quote. He was fed up with the making of the film Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which actually never got made while he was alive. And his quote was, the Hollywood process is like trying to grill a steak by having a succession of people coming into the room and breathing on it. And that was just a description for it being long-winded. Fantastic turn of phrase, he always had that. But speed matters. And that was frustrating for him that the book he wrote, which was based on a radio show, which turned into all sorts of other things, never turned into a movie while he was alive to be able to watch it. Whether he'd have liked the movie, don't know, but speed matters. And if you've got stuff littered around your hard drive that you started and meant to finish, you'll know exactly that. You'll know that you lose interest, or you get distracted, or you go off at a tangent. So if you're not being fast on things, it's kind of awkward. It really does make things awkward. You just run out, because typically, especially in internet marketing, you haven't got a boss to be accountable to or anything else like that. So if you get distracted, the project just dies a death, and it never gets completed. Which brings us on to the final point, which is publish it. There's a phrase again, publish and be damned, which is originally was just, yeah, go for it, write it. I don't mind whether you publish it that about me or not. It's come to mean different things over different times, but publish it. And that means if you're using WordPress, literally just click the publish button. Then you go to the post and tweet about it, or put it on Facebook or wherever else your social buttons allow you to, that you're happy to post about, and tell people about it, because that's the other part of letting yourself come through. There's no point in just being there or just in your own cubby hole in a little cupboard locked away. You have to be part of it. You have to tell people. There's actually no real room for being bashful in the internet. You just can't, because there's just so much competition. The best guess on the number of pages on Google is in the trillions, which is a million, something like that. The definitions of trillion vary, but either way it's a stupidly big number, and you'll get lost in it if you don't let yourself come through, because if you're just bland and anonymous, you're joining probably 90% of the other sites out there, which means no one will comment on your site. Probably won't come back again. The chance of someone coming back to your site, unless you prompt them, is quite low anyway. You think about it, you probably go back to YouTube, Facebook, possibly Twitter, possibly LinkedIn, possibly Wikipedia, but you'll probably only do that if you're going for a search. You wouldn't go direct to Wikipedia. Very few sites you'll actually go back to on a regular basis. Forums, if you remember those, yes, but that's about it. If you go to someone's blog or something else, chance of you going back without prompting, pretty low, because that's just how it works. So give yourself a personality, find yourself a personality, or just let your personality shine through, and you'll be amazed how many people think, oh, okay, I can relate to that, yeah, I feel like I know that person, and so on. And it really does work. Okay, thanks for listening. I'm Trevor from trevordumbleton.com. There's lots more audios, videos, articles on my website. That's trevordumbleton.com.